How can you most effectively use the Tallyman in your Death Guard games? But first, should you be using the Tallyman in your list? So, although the Tallyman doesn't have too great base stats, as it's not got great damage output, it is worth 70 points, and it doesn't have a melee weapon. Its only real weapon is a plasma pistol, which you can get on much cheaper units like Plague Marine, so you're not really going to take it for the damage output. And its resilience is average. I mean, it's not particularly great, but given it's only 70 points, it's not too bad. It does have 4 wounds, but it doesn't have like an invulnerable save or anything. So you're mainly going to be using the Tallyman for its abilities and auras. Well, mainly abilities in the case of the Tallyman. And the notable ones of these is the Sevenfold Chant, which is at the start of every turn you roll 2d6, and on a 7-up you gain a command point, which means that if you do the math, you have about a 58% chance of getting 1 CP each turn, which is pretty nice. So a bit more than every other turn, you're going to be getting an extra CP, which is just kind of useful to get that few extra CP to use on stratagems or rerolls. So it's just quite nice to have that. And obviously you've also got the other ability, which I'm going to talk more about later, where you can add one to the hit roll of a core unit within 6 inches. Personally, it's not the best unit, but I think if you've got a game worth like 2k points or more, I like to take it. And if you've got a game of 1,500 points, maybe like 50-50 whether you take it or not, but it's not really worth it for smaller games. In terms of the best tactics for using the Tallyman, I like to move it with the units that you want to use its ability, the malicious calculation on. Mainly those are going to be Plague Marines and Blightlord Terminators, since it has to be a core unit, and since you're adding one to the hit roll, it doesn't work for deathshroud, which is otherwise what I would use it on, as they hit on the 2-up. So use it with those Plague Marines and Blightlords, which hit on 3-up, change that to a 2-up. Really nice, because you get half as many misses, so that's pretty useful if I'm going to be honest. And also, I tried to get within 12-inch range to make use of the plasma pistol while you're moving with these other units. Although obviously it's not essential, but it is obviously nice to get that extra damage. Although, unlike I was talking about noxious blightbringer last week, I don't usually take Tallyman into melee simply because they barely have any damage. They're more useful shooting with the plasma pistol, which you don't want to supercharge unless it's on like 1 wound and inevitably going to die next turn, because it's just not really worth the risk for that 1 extra damage, given it's got a high chance that it won't hit or wound anyway. Also, one thing to note, the Tallyman isn't like the primary target for the enemy, so it's not entirely necessary to protect it, like put it next to deathshroud, etc. Although it is quite nice to have it near other infantry so it can't be shot at. So I would recommend at least trying to, but don't make it like a key priority that's going to interrupt other aspects of your game and your plan. So that's about it. I hope you found this useful. Put in the comments what you want me to discuss in the future. But for now, subscribe!